What we found is that governments are using, it seems, the politics of fear in order to further erode and justify human rights violations that they are committing. This is being carried out by powerful governments such as the United States and Russia, by repressive governments such as that of Zimbabwe, as well as by armed political groups as well. The United States has been a serious human rights violator, particularly since the events of 9/11, and has, in fact, led a downward spiral in the violation of human rights. Things that we thought were sacrosanct before 9/11, such as the use of torture, have become widespread and in some cases systemic by the United States. The holding of security suspects for years in Guantanamo Bay now, almost 5.5 years, some of them, without charge or trial, without any opportunity to present their cases. Well, one of the things we're seeing in China increasingly is a more mobilized civil society. Despite the restrictions, despite the risks, the dangers of being imprisoned, in China we see more and more people involved in confronting their government about violations. That kind of movement within North Korea is still very much impossible and a very grave risk. There's no tolerance for any form of dissent. So we've seen, unfortunately, a further spiraling of violations by the Iraqi government, in particular forces that are under the control of the Ministry of the Interior and some of the specialized security forces, the wolf brigades, that are responsible for running torture centers, sometimes underground. And the methods that are used and the techniques that have been employed, you know, resemble those of Saddam Hussein. One would have a hard time today distinguishing between the methodology that is used by the Iraqi security services today and those of Saddam Hussein before he was overthrown. Well, in Colombia, we continue to see this ongoing, intractable internal armed conflict with thousands of people impacted by that. Extrajudicial executions, torture, carried out by the military, the paramilitaries that are linked to the government, as well as the guerrilla forces, all have committed gross human rights violations. And so this is, you know, we become used to this conflict in Colombia in many ways, and yet it remains within Latin America one of the most intractable and one of the most serious human rights problems.